So now you get to see that the American sanctions were never meant to deter ZANU-PF from human rights abuse or undemocratic things. In fact, it was American policy. This is what the Lord is showing me. It has always been American policy to turn Zimbabwe into a pariah state. So the sanctions are just a proxy to that means. They knew very well that if once they put sanctions, ZANU-PF will not change because they fear the Americans. No. Do you understand how it works? It's like telling a child. You see, if you watch what you call it, watch TikTok or those YouTube shorts, you will see these parents making these videos of 2-year-olds. Then they put some sweets in front of them and say, "Do not eat those sweets until I come back." And the children obviously eat the sweets. All right. So that is American policy to Zimbabwe. Telling ZANU-PF that we're going to put sanctions on you, we must change the ABCD. It's like telling a 2-year-old putting candy in front of a 2-year-old and asking the 2-year-old not to eat the candy. Of course the child will eat. So do you understand how the diabolism works? You know, understand? Asking, demanding things that you know very well that will never be satisfied. And asking the type of people, knowing very well that they are corrupt, knowing very well that they are inept, knowing very well that you have deliberately hand-picked the worst of the black people, the worst of the Zimbabweans, the corrupt ones. It's the same thing that they're doing with the ANC. It's the same tactic that God showed me that the white billionaires of South Africa deliberately choose corrupt black people so that they will steal, and then they will blame them that, oh, these guys are corrupt. Knowing very well that the blame game is just a way of continuing what the real thing, the real game in town, the real game in town here is that black people are being enslaved. They're being made slaves by white people, being helped by the blacks that they have chosen, who are inept and are willing to sell their people for cents on the dollar. So can you imagine, whether it's in Zimbabwe or in South Africa, when our leaders, both the ZANU-PF and the ANC, if they actually decide to do right with the people, improve service delivery, improve education outcomes for black people, and really do real broad-based black economic empowerment, the real ones, not the fake ones that make Cyril Ramaphosa a billionaire and everybody a slave. Not that that's fake. They know very well. You understand how diabolic that the white enslavers have been to black people. That's how diabolic that. That's how the Lord was showing me that. That is the attitude. That is the ideology. So you might be thinking that you see, they like to do it here in South Africa. Like, oh, the ANC is corrupt. You put them there, knowing very well that they were corrupt. So you see, the same thing with that Zimbabwean situation. So now, this is the way of how the Lord is going to deliver the Zimbabweans, the poor Zimbabweans. God is going to America itself. Right there in the business world of Washington, in the business world of Wall Street, they themselves are going to make a decision themselves. Amongst themselves, God is bringing a civil war within the white people who are rich. Within themselves, they will be separated. There will be others who will see an opportunity for a successful Zimbabwe. There will be others who will see opportunity in an unsuccessful Zimbabwe. So these ones who are now happy that the country is in peril, is a pariah state, would be challenged by those within themselves, the white people themselves, those who would believe that actually we need a successful Africa so that we can really increase our market of many of our goods and services and blah, 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 blah. God is going to deal with them like that. And then they themselves will begin to move and create a conducive environment that will make Zimbabwe prosper. Now here is a trick there for those guys that are in ZANU-PF. You see, whether they knew it or did not know it, ZANU-PF always benefited from the sanctions. and benefited from the fact that the Americans and the rest of the white world needed a pariah state in Zimbabwe so that they can export cheap labor to countries like South Africa. South Africa is a big recipient, by the way, of African slaves. Europe, America, so it's still slavery, but then it is hidden. Okay, it is you who goes to the American embassy to look for a passport to go and work in America. It is you yourself, understand? Because the Americans and those white people that hate black people, they have made sure that they put blacks in power who hate their own people so much that they destroy their country, and then those people, the rest of the blacks, have got no choice but to fly, to run away to Europe and become what you call it, and then you become immigrants. You understand? So that they can have in America, they've got what they call the dreamers, who do not want to be dreamers, who want to be successful in our own country, who do not want to be foreigners. We're tired of being labeled. So here's the deal. Our friends there at ZANU-PF, what they actually been benefiting from this policy, by the way. They're benefiting from it because the policy encourages African countries and other countries that America wants to extract to have very few of their citizens who will be on top, and they will be in charge of the economy. They will be corrupt and only benefit themselves and their families. Now, here's the thing. Since God is changing the sting, the whole story now, it means that now African leaders now will have to stop their corruption. Okay, they will have to do right. They will have to increase their consumer base, because Apple has to sell more iPhones. Okay, China is saturated. Africa's got 1.2 billion people. If those 1.2 billion people cannot buy an iPhone, it's too bad for their stock price. So they need governments now to be right. There comes in good governance. And therefore, Steve Mnuchin and his friends are going to force people to engage in good governance. Failing with that, the whole glory of the American empire will descend upon people like ZANU-PF. Then that's when we now have a discussion with the military that the choice is that the counter argument, therefore, for you is that you need actually to promote human rights and democratic practices before they come for you. Because when they come for you, they create their state their own way, of which they benefit in such a way that you will benefit less or find yourself out of the picture. So now the only way of staying relevant is doing right with your people. So I'm gonna stop it there. So that is how the weapon is designed.